Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we have a weapons tier list. Basically, we're going to be ranking these on just which ones we enjoy the moments that have led from these weapons being used, or just our favorites, basically. So, yeah, got a pretty good list of objects. You ready?
Yeah.
We're going to start off with light tubes. Now, this one, we don't really see too much in stuff like WWE, but on the indies and like more extreme matches, we do see light tubes fairly used. And what do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where it's like when it gets used, it's really cool because obviously it's like a painful thing, like just can't, one of those things you can't imagine the pain from it. But it's not one of the things I would say is my favorite or something I'll necessarily pop for. I've seen it recently in the Chris Statlander Willow Nightingale match, and yeah, it's a pretty cool spot, pretty good. We've seen it multiple times throughout wrestling history, and it's always pretty cool. So I think I'll put it like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's what I was saying somewhere like B, because it's not maybe my favorite, but it's definitely a very solid one to see. Next up, thumbtacks. Now, this one usually gets put out in some like big feud matches. And always a crazy spot when it does happen. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely really like tacks. A lot of times, they've been kind of tricking you in a way because they'll bring out a bag and say, "Oh, is it gonna be tacks?" But it'll be like Legos or Barbies or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always really cool to see them actually use thumbtacks. Obviously it's because it's so painful, so kind of like the light tube. But this one I actually do pop for, I think, because it's even more, I guess, cringe than the light tube is.
Yeah, definitely one of those ones where I could only imagine how much it hurts just landing on all of them. And obviously they might be gimmicked in a way, but at the same time they're probably not either. But yeah, I'd definitely put this above light tube, so I'm thinking probably A.
Yeah.
Next up, one of the big three in weapons, where we got the ladder. Now, we don't really see this too used as like a weapon itself, but a lot of people do moves off ladders or go through ladders. But how do you feel?
Yeah, I think this one instantly goes S. There's just so many cool and unique ways to do ladders. And if you look at a ladder's kind of history, there's so many just big moments that happen because of a ladder. Obviously, one of the big ones is going to be the Jeff Hardy Edge and the spear while he's holding the title, and so many other moments from those matches in general. But yeah, the ladder's always a good one. I think it's S tier.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's just so many iconic things that have come off of ladders, or the biggest moments in wrestling history. So yeah, it kind of has to go in S tier. Next up, one we don't see used too often nowadays, but a chain. Obviously, we kind of seen, in my opinion, I kind of think of John Cena using like his chain and stuff like that. But what do you think?
Yeah, I guess it's cool. Nothing too special. I prefer brass knucks, probably, because it's kind of more quicker and easier to use. But yeah, I think a chain probably goes like C tier for me.
Yeah, because most of the time, like you said, it's just like wrapped around the fist or wrapped around somebody's head while they're doing a move. But I think it was in a Batista match where he like whipped somebody with it. I really liked it used like that, but obviously not too many people are going to use it like that because it hurts a lot.
No.
But another one that hurts a lot, barbed wire. Yeah, this one is obviously not seen too often anymore, but what do you think?
Yeah, mostly seen in AEW. We've seen it in the Swerve and Hangman match. We've seen it in the Adam Copeland Malachi Black match. And yeah, it's always I guess it's one of those things where no one ever really brings it out. It's already there.
Yeah.
So I guess you don't necessarily pop for it in a way, or it's not necessarily a favorite weapon, but when it's used, it's really cool. So maybe like same tier as tax.
Yeah, I think like they are. I was thinking I got the exact same like vibes from both of them, because I know as soon as they land on, I'm like, oh, I can only imagine how that's pointing or how it's scraping off your skin. So yeah, definitely like to put it right next to A. Next one, one that's kind of dominated by one man in particular, but a sledgehammer. How do you feel about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those weapons where it's just a big weapon that obviously could kill somebody. So it's really cool when it does get used, but at the same time, it's not going to get used in like a dangerous way. You kind of see how they protect each other with it and whatnot. So overall, I think I'll put it lower on the tier list, just because you can't really use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you said, it's always very protected. Putting the hand on top of the mallet part. I would personally put it around like C, I think, next to the chain, just because it can be used in very cool ways, but most of the time it's a safe, kind of lame way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think C's cool. But yeah, probably the best way to use it is when you're like kind of choking somebody with the stick part of it, because you're it looks like it hurts a lot. But when you're holding the end of it while hitting somebody, it's kind of,
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite ones to use in WWE games. I do love using the sledgehammer. Next up, off kind of the rookie of the year of weapons recently, that's a staple gun. We've seen this used a lot recently in AEW, with Swerve kind of being the main guy using this, kind of his staple, I guess. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna put it pretty high on the tier list because, it's like you said, kind of happened popularized by Swerve and Hangman, and I really like it. The spots are always cool. It looks very painful. They put them in you and they rip them out of you. There's just a lot that they do, and yeah, I think I'll put this A or S, honestly.
I'm gonna put it A because I still get the same vibe from this Tax and Barbed Wire, where like, wow, that has to hurt so bad. But I think it's still just, we haven't seen it used too often, so I like to see more unique ways of how people are going to use it in the future. So I think for now I'd like to put it A.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Now, pretty much the GOAT of weapons, and that is a table. So many iconic moments that have happened with tables. What do you think, though?
Yeah, definitely goes S tier. A fan favorite in general. You get We Want Tables chants all the time. Yeah, just a great weapon of choice.
Yeah. Next up, one of my least favorite, I'll be honest, and that is the kendo stick. Where would you rank it?
I feel like I used to like the older kendo sticks, maybe because can't really explain it, but just the sound of it, maybe, or maybe just because they didn't break as easily, or I don't know. I don't know what it was about it. But yeah, I do seem like maybe like the older ones, like from a Steve Blackman or a Ken Shamrock or something. But it's kind of whatever. I'll throw it in like, C tier for corrugated.
Yeah, I was also thinking C tier. I think it's the perfect spot. Next up, though, chair. Another one of the big three, obviously. Where would you rank it?
It kind of has to go S. It is just a really good weapon, and you can use it in some unique ways. We've seen people put it in corners. We've seen people like how Undertaker kind of did to Maven, where you put their neck on the top of it and slam it down. Obviously, you could hit someone with it. You could choke someone with it. There's just a lot of different things you could do with it. So, yeah, has to go S, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's just, like you said, so much creativity. We even see people like Mark Briscoe doing like the one step onto it and then jumping through it, kind of like Sabu. But yeah, obviously very fun and unique weapon. Last up, we got the trash can. Where would you rank this one?
Honestly, it's really cool. I think of most recently Nia Jax and Michin, where she does the Annihilator to Michin through the trash can. Obviously, a big spot that a lot of people use is when you put it over their head and start swinging on it with the kendo sticks or chairs or whatever it is. So there's some really cool and funny moments you can get away with it. But I'm thinking maybe with the light tube and B tier.
Yeah, I actually perfectly agree with that. It's kind of like the comedic relief of weapons. People usually, like you said, use it putting on top of their head. Shane would sometimes put it on top of their head and do the coast to coast, which is always one of my favorite moves. But yeah, I think B is a perfect spot. Not as intense as a light tube, but still very fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is our tier list of weapons. Let us know your thoughts. Any other closing thoughts?
Yeah, obviously, there's more weapons we could have added to this list, but these are kind of the more prominent ones that we've been seeing recently. But yeah, that's our list. We hope you enjoy. Let us know if you disagree or agree with things in the comments. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one.